The cold seeps into the soul when you step into the deep woods of the American Northeast. It's not just the temperature, it's the profound sense that you are utterly exposed, a tiny flicker of warmth in a vast, indifferent dark. Tonight, we look at 5 legends that prove the monsters we fear the most are not the ones who died, but the ones who were never human to begin with. These are the creatures and curses woven into the deep fabric of American folklore, stories that refuse to be dismissed as mere superstition. Picture the year 1735, in the deep, tangled thickets of the New Jersey Pine Barrens. The Pine Barrens are not a cheerful place. They are over 1 million acres of acidic soil, dense scrub pine, and confusing swamps, a place where you can easily get lost and where local history suggests something ancient was born. The legend begins with a woman known only as Mother Leeds, said to be a local witch or possibly just a woman driven mad by poverty and the struggle of raising 12 children. When she discovered she was pregnant with her 13th child, she cursed the unborn infant, allegedly crying out in frustration, "Let this one be the devil!" When the child was born, it was initially a seemingly normal baby, but within moments, the horrifying transformation began. Witnesses claimed the creature rapidly changed into a monstrous winged beast. It had the head of a goat or a horse, leathery bat-like wings, cloven hooves, and a serpentine tail. It roared, it screamed, and before Mother Leeds or anyone else could react, it flapped its terrifying wings, ascended the chimney with a blast of noxious smoke, and disappeared into the shadows of the Pine Barrens. And for the next 290 years, the creature, now known as the Jersey Devil, became the state's most infamous mystery. The Jersey Devil is no mere campfire tale. It is a meticulously documented cryptid. There were sightings by Joseph Bonaparte, the elder brother of Napoleon, who claimed he saw the beast flying over his estate in Bordentown. But the climax of the legend arrived in 1909. For one terrifying week, thousands of people across New Jersey and Pennsylvania reported encounters. Streetcars were stopped, factories shut down, police departments in multiple towns offered rewards for its capture. Reports described it attacking lonely farmers, screaming from the rooftops, and even leaving strange, cloven hoofprints in the snow that defied logical explanation. To this day, every strange shadow, every unexplained sound, every mutilated animal carcass found in the vast silence of the Pine Barrens is immediately attributed to the devil. It is a terrifying thought that deep in the swamps of one of the most populated states in the U.S., a demonic, unholy creature born of a curse might still be waiting. Hey friends, you're in Dreamcatcher Stories, your cozy corner for stories that got lost along the way. Tell me, where are you watching from, and what time is it there for you? Hit me up in the comments and tell me how this one hits you. Now, let's get sneaky and peek behind the curtain. The American landscape is haunted not by ghosts, but by creatures that seem to arrive as omens of inevitable tragedy. None embodies this terrifying idea more completely than the Mothman of Point Pleasant, West Virginia. In 1966, Point Pleasant was a quiet, rural town, its peaceful existence nestled between the Ohio and Kanawha rivers. But the tranquility was shattered when 2 young couples, driving late one night near an abandoned munitions plant known as the TNT area, claimed to see something impossible. They described a massive, flying creature, larger than any bird, that rose from the ground and chased their car at speeds exceeding 70 miles per hour. The most disturbing detail? The creature had no neck, no discernible head, and its eyes, 2 enormous, glowing red orbs, were set directly into its torso. The sightings exploded across the region. Witnesses, including respected citizens, police officers, and state officials reported seeing the creature, which became instantly known as the Mothman, standing over 6 feet tall, its 10-foot wingspan propelling it through the air with silence and speed. It was always sighted near the TNT area, a place already steeped in bizarre local legend and environmental oddity. The tension in Point Pleasant became palpable, fueled by the sheer volume of credible sightings. People locked their doors, refusing to go out after dark. This mass hysteria was compounded by another series of bizarre phenomena: unexplained failures in electrical systems, strange humming noises, and repeated sightings of men in black MEB, who seemed to be silencing witnesses and intimidating anyone who spoke about the Mothman. The atmosphere was thick with dread, the feeling that the creature was not merely present, but waiting for something. The chilling climax came on the 15th of December, 1967. During the evening rush hour, the Silver Bridge, which connected Point Pleasant to Ohio, suddenly collapsed into the Ohio River, killing 46 people. After the collapse, the sightings of the Mothman, which had been continuous for over a year, abruptly stopped. Was the creature simply an unknown biological anomaly? Or was it a non-human entity dispatched as an omen? The mystery remains unsolved. But for the survivors of Point Pleasant, the Mothman is not just a cryptid. It is a terrifying prediction of catastrophe. The monsters that haunt history are often not the ones with wings and talons, but the ones forged in the furnace of mass human delusion. This brings us to the most painful, psychologically terrifying historical mystery in American history: the Salem witch trials. In 1692, Salem Village, Massachusetts, was a tiny, strict Puritan settlement governed by absolute religious dogma and fear. The build-up began with a group of young women who started exhibiting strange, violent behavior, screaming uncontrollably, throwing objects, contorting their bodies, and speaking in unknown tongues. Today, many theories abound, ranging from mass psychogenic illness to poisoning from spoiled rye grain, ergotism. But at the time, there was only one conclusion: witchcraft. The horrifying twist is the mechanism of the conflict. The girls began naming names. They pointed fingers at the marginalized, the poor, and soon, the wealthy and respected members of the community, claiming they were agents of the devil. The evidence used was spectral evidence, meaning the victims claimed to see the accused spirit harming them, an accusation that could not be disproven. The fear of witches became a runaway psychological epidemic. Over 200 people were accused, and the courts descended into madness. People who confessed were spared. Those who maintained their innocence were executed. The climax was brutal. 19 people were hanged on Gallows Hill, and several others died in jail. The tragedy ended not because the community suddenly realized witches weren't real, but because the accusations became so powerful and widespread that they started targeting the governor's own wife. The Salem witch trials serve as a profound, non-supernatural American horror story, a terrifying reminder of how quickly hysteria, religious extremism, and psychological breakdown can turn a community into a self-consuming machine of paranoia and murder. Sometimes, the entity that terrorizes is neither a monster nor a ghost, but a malevolent force focused entirely on destruction and driving a family to the absolute breaking point. Deep in rural Tennessee in the early 1800s, the powerful Bell family found themselves under attack by an unknown entity known simply as the Bell Witch. The haunting began not with shadows, but with inexplicable noises, rapping on the walls, choking sounds, and things being thrown. Soon, the violence escalated, concentrating its energy on the family patriarch, John Bell. The entity began speaking, possessing a distinct, intelligent, and highly aggressive voice. It identified itself as the witch of a neighbor. Crucially, Its activity was physical and focused. It would pinch, pull hair, slap, and physically attack John Bell and his daughter Betsy. It was known to drive people to the edge of sanity, with relentless insults and threats. This was not a spirit lingering due to unfinished business. This was an active, destructive presence. The mystery gained such intense notoriety that even General Andrew Jackson, who was famous for his bravery, heard the stories. Jackson, along with his men, traveled to the Bell farm, determined to prove it was a hoax. The legend states that before Jackson and his company even reached the house, their carriage stopped inexplicably. They were reportedly met with invisible forces that harassed and physically abused them until Jackson fled, declaring, "I would rather fight the British than fight the Bell Witch." The twist and climax of the legend arrived when John Bell suddenly fell ill and died after the entity was heard bragging about poisoning him. A strange, unlabeled bottle was found near his bed, and when a drop was given to the family cat, the cat died instantly. The entity declared victory, declaring it had poisoned the man. The Bell Witch remains an unsolved enigma, a powerful, aggressive, localized force that displayed physical capabilities and clear, malevolent intent, forever blurring the line between a traditional poltergeist, a demon, and a simple, ancient curse. We conclude by venturing into the darkest corners of human mythology, where the monster is a twisted reflection of our own capacity for hunger. This is the horrifying and profoundly psychological mystery of the Wendigo legend. The Wendigo is not a creature of biology, but of transformation, a terrifying spirit rooted in the traditional beliefs of the Algonquin tribes in the northern forests of the U.S. and Canada. The myth is based entirely on the ultimate cultural taboo, cannibalism. The concept of the Wendigo is simple. If a human resorted to cannibalism during a harsh winter or a period of extreme starvation, they were cursed. Their body would grotesquely transform into the Wendigo, a monstrous giant, emaciated, with skin pulled tight over bone, and possessing an insatiable hunger for human flesh. The Wendigo's true horror is that the more it eats, the larger it grows, ensuring it is never full. The psychological dimension of the legend is where the true terror lies. The term Wendigo psychosis was historically used by psychiatrists to describe a rare, culture-bound syndrome that manifested in overwhelming craving for human flesh, accompanied by depression and fear of becoming a cannibal. These are not mere cryptid sightings. These are documented cases where people, usually in isolated communities, succumb to the psychosis, believing they were transforming into the monster. The final, terrifying twist of the Wendigo is that it represents the dissolution of the human soul under duress. It is the ultimate warning against unchecked greed and self-interest. To become Wendigo is to lose your humanity, to be driven by a hunger that literally destroys you from the inside out. In the quiet, cold forests of the north, the fear remains. How close are we to the breaking point where starvation and isolation transform us into the very thing we dread? These 5 entities, the winged curse of the Jersey Devil, the prophetic terror of the Mothman, the human tragedy of the Salem witch trials, the malicious force of the Bell Witch, and the consuming hunger of the Wendigo all stand as guardians of the American dark. They prove that true fear requires no traditional ghost. It requires only the shadow of the unseen, the power of belief, and the knowledge that something out there is watching. And there we go. Another memory back from the dark. Don't go too far. I've got more mysteries itching to be told. Out of the 5, which entity do you think has the strongest, most convincing physical evidence behind its legend? The Jersey Devil's 1,909 sightings, or the Mothman's association with the Silver Bridge collapse? Let me know your analysis in the comments below. And if you are intrigued by these bizarre historical accounts and cryptid legends, Make sure you subscribe to Dreamcatcher Stories and hit that notification bell. Until next time, stay safe and think critically about the shadows.